Hey everyone. Okay, what I want to do is get the React Router DOM working, and right now what I have is just a very blank screen. What I want to do are just like kind of like the template it starts us off with. So let me just go ahead and kind of get rid of a lot of that stuff, a lot of the stuff I'm not going to be using, and then I want to open up my integrated terminal, and then let's go ahead and npm install the React Router DOM. Also, I could never know any of this without consulting the docs. So let's go ahead and look up the React Router DOM and see if it can give us some hints as to how we can get this working. Seems like a good enough source. And while it's installing, I can take a quick little look. Basic routing makes sense to me. Looks like there's a few things that we can import in, and it does look like it's done. So with this on the side, let me go ahead and try reading these docs and get this to work for me. All right, so what I'm going to do is let's import, and then from the React Router DOM, let's deconstruct some stuff. So I'm going to say React Router DOM, beautiful. And we're going to need a couple core features from here. So the browser router as router. So I'll be able to talk to it as the router instead of having to type browser router, which you only have to do it once, so it's not that big of an issue. But switch, excellent. Let's go ahead and grab route, and then let's also get link as well. And since this is in my way, let me just close that down. Very cool. Okay. So the first thing that I'm probably going to want to do is, well, again, let's look at the docs. And so look where it starts. It starts off, it looks like we want to use the router, and this may even be in order. So let's check that out. Let's go ahead and say router. Opens and close. It doesn't look like it's self-closing. It looks like there's some links in here that we can look at, but let's just get right to the switch, which has to be inside of the router. So let's go ahead and check that out. I'm going to say switch. Opens and closes. Now inside of the switch, I know I need my route. So let's go ahead and grab that. I'm going to grab a route for each one. And instead of because I don't have these pages set up yet. And so let's just go ahead and put in an H1. And the H1 is going to say hello from home. Something like that. And I'm going to need a couple of these. And let's see, these routes are going to need a path each. So let's go ahead and throw in that path just like so. All right, so I'm going to say path is going to be equal. Let's see, what is the path going to be? We said home for the first one, so let's go ahead and say home. I'm going to grab this. This one is going to be let's say about, for instance. And this is going to say contact. All right, let's go ahead. Let's see, router, switch, route. Let's see, are we missing anything? It looks like this may be the very basic React Router DOM, but there's one way to find out. Let's go ahead and check it. I'm going to say npm start. And it should pop up in my browser. And it doesn't look like we have anything for home, so it's going to be a little confused right now. It says, uh-oh. Let's try to go to homepage. Aha, and we have hello from home. Nice. All right, let's go to about. Okay. /home. It's still saying hello from home, so let's go ahead and change that to about, and let's also change this to contact. Awesome. And let's go ahead and check out contact right here. So contact, hit that. Very cool. All right. And then one other I'm gonna have is maybe something like path. We'll make this say error. All right. And what I want to do is instead, let's say exact path. So let's say hello from home. Beautiful. And then let's go ahead and add some weird path. There we go. And now we get error. Perfect. So the exact path is always going to return home, but if something's a little janky, a little weird, we have an error page kind of set up for us. And this is kind of useful to us. Back to kind of the docs, it looks like in one page, they've got like a home component setup, they have an about, and they also have a users. Well, we have a home page, we have about, and we have contacts. So let's open this up a little bit bigger. How I would probably organize this is like you've got your components folder, that's got a use. Now this is definitely within pages. And so let's go ahead and create a pages folder. Inside of pages, let's go ahead and create a home.js. This would be so much faster if I use my terminal. All right, and then we are going to put an about.js file as well. And then let's go ahead and create a contact page. .js. Excellent. RIFC. We're going to put an h1 hello from contact. Inside of this about, we're going to put an h1 that says hello from about. And then in contact, oh, so it looks like we already did that. Let's say RIFC. And then let's go ahead and put an h1 that says hello from home. All right, and if these are already set up as defaults, notice every time we've been saving, this hasn't been doing the hot reloading. It's because it's not imported anywhere. So let's get into app.js and let's make sure that we can import these things. Thankfully, I mean, VS Code makes this really easy for me. So I'm just gonna say home. Notice how this kind of pops up. That's telling me that it's got an automatic import kind of waiting for me. So if I go ahead and hit that, we can see it pops up right here. Super useful. Awesome. All right, I'm going to do the same for about and contact as well. So I'm going to say about, and then I'm going to put contact in here. So contacts. All right, let's see what we got out of the app right now. Okay, so I open, I think that's the wrong one. It's this one right here. All right. I'm in an error page right now. It kind of makes sense to me. Let's go to our home page. Oh, and it looks like it's doubled up, and that makes a lot of sense because I didn't get rid of this. So let's delete it. Let's delete this as well. And everything kind of looks chill to me. So let's go ahead and look at about. That's not how you spell about. I can do this. Let's go ahead and say contact. Looks pretty chill to me. And we still have our error page. Nothing much going on in there. Okay. So the next thing you probably want to do is probably have some sort of like Nav Bar setup, right? Let's close this down. Not that I really need to. But where you'd probably want this Nav Bar is, and let's again, like I wouldn't just make it up. It looks like you would need the nav bar, and it's within the router. So within the router, you can start creating this nav. And it looks like it's got these links right here. Let's just check them out initially to kind of see what happens. Let's open this up on the side over here, and I want to make sure I did bring in link, and it looks like I did bring in link. So the reason why I wanted to check the docs is because link is gonna have to be called inside a router, or else you're just not gonna get the control that you kind of want, that you're really actually wanting from it. So I'm gonna open this up. I'm gonna make sure that I'm inside of this switch. Let's right now we'll do it inside of the app.js, and then we'll create our own nav component to do it over there. And so I'm going to create an unordered list with the 3 list items in here. And within the list items, let's go ahead and create a link just like they did, just like this. And so in fact, it looks very similar. And so I should be able to just copy and paste that in. That is home. It is going to be different though now because about, oh, hey, look at that. They did the same exact thing. All right, so instead of about, let's go ahead and throw that in there. That's not how you do it. In fact, I'm not even in the right place. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my about right here. Nice. This next one is gonna be only slightly different. This one is, we called this contact for some reason. Contact. Contacts. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. npm run dev. Let's see. Okay, so let's instead say npm start. Switching projects lately. All right, so let's see what happens when this pops up. All right, so it looks like I started off on home. Sweet. Let's click on about. Looks like it goes to about, and I've got my about page set up. And let's open up contact, and looks like something very similar. So looks good to me, essentially. It looks good to me. Let's go ahead and close this down, because the next thing we can do is create our own external like Nav component. So let's go ahead. This may actually be a component instead. So I'm going to create a components folder. And inside components, I'm going to create, let's create a Nav folder. And then inside of Nav, let's create nav.js. All right, and it does look like the path is correct. So let's say RFC, hit that. Very cool. And I'm gonna open up to this to the side, because what I'm gonna need inside this nav is really just the link from the React Router DOM. And so let's go ahead and import the link from React Router DOM. Okay, and what I want to do is just grab this whole nav. Let's grab that. Should be all right. All right, let's just make sure that this is working and make sure that we bring in our nav. So nav, excellent. It should be a self-closing tag because I didn't set it up for props.children. Looks like a nice little self-contained item. So let's open this up and say npm start. Let's see what we get out of this. Let's close up our old one. All right, looks very similar to the one before. About is working, contact is working, home is working, and then if we go to some crazy thing, we have our error page as well. Cool. Let's play around with the unordered list a little bit, and we can do that with, well, nav. Let's make it lowercase. Let's say nav.css. Let's open this up, and I'm going to open up to the side right here. And so it looks like I can, now I should be able to create some classes to kind of get this running up inside of here. And so let's access nav. I could just do that, but there is a really something like, especially in any kind of like SPA, you're going to deal with style leakage in here. So we should like make sure we give it a specific name and make sure that that name isn't going to be used anywhere else. And so let's just give it a class. I'm going to say nav. And then what I want to do is give it a background color, and let's use some sort of material, something. So, oops. All right, so Control-Shift-P. Material. I'm going to insert a color, and sounds good enough. I'm going to put in purple, and then also make sure this is over here. Sweet. Let's give it a height property of 10 VH for fun. Let's go ahead and give it a display property of flex as well. And then justify content, let's do center. And then let's also align items center as well. We're gonna have to do something very similar for this unordered list. Let's go ahead and give this a class name, which is going to be equal to nav. All right, and then inside of this unordered list, we're gonna have to do something a little bit similar. Let's call this nav group. All right, opens it up like that. So what I want to do is display, I'm gonna say inline flex. I'm gonna give it a width of 80% for funsies. Let's justify this content with space around, and let's see what that gives us. I bet you for these links, we're also probably going to want to get rid of some of like the default classes, but let's see where we're at right now. Not very far, because when I save this, I don't see any changes happening inside of here. I should probably import this style. So let's import nav.css. All right, we refresh it. Nav group, we should also give this its class name. All right, let's make this equal to nav grouper. All right, copy, paste. All right, see it. There we go, tight. All right. I think what we also want to do is get rid of like the link styling. Oh, list decoration. Let's try that. List item decoration. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's try to look that up. List item decoration. List style, I think, is what it is. List style none. Awesome. Let's try it out and see if that gets us a little bit closer. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say nav item. I'm gonna say list style to none. And I bet you there's like another thing for the link that I might have to do as well. So let's see. Class name is going to be equal to nav item. And let's go ahead and see what's going on in our local host. All right. It was only added to the first one. That makes a lot of sense to me. Let's just make sure that we add these classes to all the other list items as well. I should just be able to bow. Okay, very cool. Let's also make the color white. So let's say color white. Let's refresh it. And I didn't see it happen, and I have a feeling that that's coming in from the link style. It's something like that. So let's try to look that up. Link style none. And let's see if that kind of gets me closer. CSS styling links, good old W3. Anchor color hot pink, doubt it. Visited. Text decoration. Maybe let's try that. I'm gonna say text decoration, and I'm gonna set it to none. And I'm gonna put it on like this link right here. Nav item, let's call this nav link, just to kind of sit with whatever standard we are putting. I'm gonna say text decoration to none, and let's give it that class right now. So I'm gonna say class name is going to be equal to nav link. And let's see what my app looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh it. And like, let's also make sure that we bring that color white down. Let's see. I noticed this says nav item, this says nav item. Oh, bummer. Okay, let's grab that. Nav link, throw that like so. So they're all nav links. Over here, it looks like that kind of got rid of like the underline. Let's try to move. Oh, and so I have nothing with the color white anymore. So let's say color white, and now it looks like I've got the color white to it. So let's just make sure that our nav works. I'm gonna hit on about, contact, home, flippity flula. There, and we have our error page as well. Awesome. So it looks like that is kind of what we need to know to get the React Router DOM out of the way, and I hope that helps. See ya.